Teaching Wait by the Refined Canine Dog Training. Wait is about teaching your dog to stop moving. When you're teaching wait, we have to show the dog how to stop moving when asked to do so. It should be about freezing movement. This can be a sit or a down or just stopping in motion. We want to work backwards. So we want to teach the concept first and then increase the duration to form the glue that keeps them in place. So to do this, you'll notice that I get the dog up and moving, and then once he is still, I go ahead and put a little pressure on the nose back to get him to stop in motion completely, and then reinforce him. I also use a marker word here, and I'm using yes. So he understands that when he stops moving, he's going to get his reinforcer. Right here, you'll notice that this is his very first wait without a lure against his nose. This is actually a huge deal for this little pup. So I get him up and moving again, and we're going to try it a few more times. Now I want to start adding space between me and him. Instead of getting him to stop with the lure in front of his nose, I want him to stop moving on his own away from me without any help. This little dog is doing a pretty good job. Our next step is going to be adding in some movement into the wait. So when you're training wait, you really want to make sure that you're training to generalize. So we want to make sure that we're taking into consideration that when we actually use wait, there's going to be distractions and movement in our environment. So not every single time you ask your dog to wait are they already going to be in a sit or a down. This will actually spare you time during the training process and then out in the real world when you're working with your dog or asking them to stop at doorways or inside of the kitchen or on a walk. Now you'll notice that this little dog is actually getting a lot quicker with his waits. So I can walk around, I can ask him to wait in a sit, I can ask him to wait in a down. It doesn't matter where he is or what he's doing. If I ask for a wait, he immediately goes into what he should be doing. Now that this dog has a good foundation on what the word wait actually means and needing to stop, I can actually start to add duration onto the wait and get him to stay there in place for a longer amount of time. To do this, I'm going to add time between when I ask for the wait and when I deliver my reinforcer. So here you're going to see this little dog get distracted by the chickens. So I reissue the wait so I can set him up for success. Then once he's there for just a little bit longer than normal, I go ahead and reinforce, and I also add in some attention reinforcer on top of my tangible reinforcer. He gets a little bit of a double whammy there. Now he's waiting in a sit. So he understands that he can sit or down or just pause in motion. He doesn't necessarily have to be in an obedience command to stop moving for his wait. At this point, this little dog is holding duration. He's waiting when I ask him to, even when we're in movement. And so now is probably a good time to take a break at this stage of training wait. And then next time I get him out, we will go ahead and start the new process of making sure that we can hold it for a very, very long amount of time. Always make sure that when you're using attention that you're actually petting and touching your dog with how they actually like to be pet. This is the same concept. I am just using a higher drive dog here with a toy as a reinforcer instead of food. So this makes it a little snappier and the dog is a lot more fast paced. I like to do this exercise with the higher drive dogs so they begin to listen and wait while we're actually using a higher loading toy or tangible reinforcer item. This dog is given his wait command, and then the second he gets it, he gets his reinforcer. I want to make sure that the activity surrounding the object I'm using makes it worth the dog's while, so you ultimately breathe life into the toy. The next step is actually beginning the process of having the dog to hold the weight for a longer amount of time. I want to mix up the reinforcer timing here. So sometimes I'll give the reinforcer and the marker word when I get back to the dog. And then sometimes I like to go ahead and have the dog come to me for the reinforcer by issuing the yes, which means that he's completed the command of wait and he can leave to come get his reinforcer. It's important to note here that when you're choosing the reinforcer for these long duration waits, that it's something that creates a low drive for your dog, something that doesn't get him too excited to get up. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and follow to all of my channels. You can find me on Refine Canine LLC on Instagram and Fulton_strong on Instagram. We hope you found this helpful, and we look forward to continuing our videos every Tuesday for Training Tip Tuesday. Don't forget that at 4,000 subscribers, we will release our pay-per-stream video tutorial access.